All right, and I'll give you a little countdown here, Dax. Five, four, three.
All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds here, make sure everybody that's in the waiting room has fully entered the presentation before we get going. Just bear with me a couple of seconds here. Okay. Perfect. We're going to have a couple of people filtering in here in the first couple of minutes or two, but that's okay. Welcome, everybody. We are super excited to be doing this. This is our Alaska webinar. We've done an Alaska webinar in the past, but we're really excited about this one because it is the All Paved Alaska webinar that we're doing. We get a lot of questions and commentary from customers and potential customers about wanting to ride Alaska, but they maybe don't have the dirt experience or they're not interested in riding the dirt. And so we decided to make this webinar to focus a lot about that and let you know that there are a ton of options for riding in Alaska and you never have to touch the gravel. So really excited to be doing this. We got just a couple of housekeeping notes that we got to get through before I hand it off to Phil. So first of which is if you're viewing this on mobile, if you're looking at this on your phone, it's going to be a much more enjoyable experience if you just rotate that phone sideways into landscape mode. You're going to be able to see the pictures better, and it's just going to be a better experience. So if you're looking at this on mobile, please go ahead and do that. Next thing I would like to mention is that Phil or Brendan, my co-host here, we're going to be dropping some important links into the chat. One of the links is a Google Map link that you can click on, and it's going to have a lot of relevant locations that Phil's going to be talking about pinned on the map. So if you want to have that map pulled up, maybe in a different tab, or you can just kind of reference it as we're going through the presentation, that'll give you a really good sense of geography and locations in Alaska, so you can kind of orient yourself as we're going through this. Last thing I would say is please, we welcome you asking us questions. We want you to ask questions. If you have a question about something, there's probably 10 other people in the chat that have the same question that you do. So please throw it up there. I would just like to distinguish between the chat feature and the Q&A. So if you have a question, please use the Q&A function at the bottom. If you have just general commentary about something, feel free to use the chat. But really, if it's a question, we want you to please use that Q&A feature. Last thing I would do is just introduce myself and introduce my co-hosts. My name is Dax Harlow. I am primarily the facility manager for MotoQuest here in Portland, Oregon. We, of course, have the legendary Phil Freeman. He is the founder of MotoQuest and going to be the presenter on this webinar. And then we have Brendan Anders in the wings. I probably won't show his face on camera here, but he is my co-host and he is the general manager of MotoQuest. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to you, Phil.
Thanks, Axe. Thanks, Brendan. Hey, everyone. First of all, I'm just going to be honest. I'm missing a front tooth. It was a yoga accident. We could talk about it later, but it's just the way it rolls right now. I'm not usually like this, but I can get any parking spot I want if I just smile and I can get right in there. Hey, everybody, I'm just excited that you're here. Thanks for taking your time. I'm piping this out live and direct from my cabin in Girdwood, Alaska. I was born and raised here. Got into motorcycling kind of late in my life. I was 24 when I started really riding around Alaska. I'm 56 now, so you can do the math. And I've been down every road I could ever get to, and then it gets dirty, and then it turns into a four-wheel track. And so I just wanted to take you guys around the paved areas today. That's what we're going to do, and I can keep you busy up here. Have that map out ready because I put over 100 points on there, and I'm just going to tell you that I'm not going to be able to mention all of the restaurants and all of the scenic spots and all of the gas that's really needed, but I'm going to mention some that are pretty critical. And Alaska's huge. It's the size of Mexico, the country, but it only has about 650,000 people in it. So you're going to get out of cell phone range. You're going to have only two choices for restaurants. Even if you have a choice, that's kind of a cool thing. and the hotels are here and there, and some of them are nice, and some of them are like very welcoming. But it is Alaska. It's a little bit on the edge. I do want to start with a quote. I love this quote, and I say it to myself almost every day. And here we go. Please bear with me. Whether life is short or long, all we possess is the present, and all that matters is what we do in it. Thank you, Nikki Otts, for sending that on. Um, it's not his quote, but he shares quotes every day. So, with no further ado, I'm gonna take you around what I know, and also I'm gonna kind of do it in sort of a guide format. So I'm usually followed by about 8 to 12 people, and I'm thinking about bathrooms. I'm thinking about scenic spots, and these are places where we can all park. And I'm thinking about hotels where we can put everybody. If you do deeper dive in the research of stuff, you're gonna you're gonna see there's a lot more options. If you get that mile post, you're gonna know every single thing that's open along the highway system in Alaska and Canada, British Columbia, Yukon. And if you do purchase the book that I co-authored with Lee Clancher, you're going to have the Adventurous Motorcyclist Guide to Alaska right at your fingertips with tons of maps and information that I'm going to display here. Uh, yeah, and that Alaska Marine Highway link, there are some ferries here, but their schedule has been a little bit evaporated from last year. They're not running as many, so some of these ferries I'm talking about may not run as much as they're usually advertised. But you can get on that Alaska Marine Highway system here and there with your motorcycle. It's kind of fun to load, go somewhere, and come back, and I'll go through that. Okay, so I think the thing to do here is to have that map kind of ready. And what I'm going to do first, before I take you anywhere, is I'm going to kind of take you through some things that you'll run across, and then I have a plan, and I'm going to stop everyone once in a while for questions too. I love this one. This is out on the Denali Highway, and it just kind of is the Alaska. When do you come to Alaska? Try not March if you want to ride. This 6 feet of snow fell in March. So June, July, and August. That's the meat of the season. You can do the May, like mid-May, all the way to about mid-September. That's about as much as you can bank on riding the highway system up here without running into some sort of snow or maybe inclement weather or both. Or you're gonna get, yeah, there's bugs up here, but they're not as bad as you think. But you definitely want to stay at a windy place, maybe down by a river is nice. Um, yes, we have aircraft everywhere, and they have a right of way on the roads. And if you see one that's going to land, and it happens every summer, you ought to let them. And there's so much out there in Alaska. There's a lot of mining roads, but we're not going to talk about that right now. That'll be the another one. This is our state flag. North to the future is our motto, and I'm pretty proud that we had a little native kid came up with this design in a village, and it is now our flag. And I love it because anywhere I'm in the northern hemisphere, I can see the Alaska flag. What bike is the best bike to have? Well, come on now. Um, this might be the most practical one. This guy went all the way down to South America with this thing. But any old road bike will do. But just to go back, make sure that you have tires that can do a little bit of gravel, just because there's going to be road construction wherever you go. There are 2 seasons in Alaska. There's summer, no, there's winter and road construction. That's the thing. Who are you going to choose for your companion? Who knows? But it's always good to bring a sat phone and some tools and some knowledge and some patience. And a little bit of history. These are my first two guests I ever had back in 1998, Asako and Akiko. And thank you guys. It was a great trip. Look at those Yamaha Viragos, 1982, huh? Who doesn't have a bunch of those in their garage? And let's just go for food right now. Anywhere you go, it's so fun to eat. And there are a lot of yummy that's the scalp stuffed mushrooms right there. I can tell you that. Yeah, Alaskans like their food and their drink. You can find it around. Um, and If you are traveling in a larger group, which I do, you got to kind of be a bit strategic about where you go because some of these places are a little bit smaller, but we always have good food and there's always salmon and king crab. Why not? Okay, let's get into the
So
critters a little
welcome
bit
everybody.
for
This is the Moto.
go ahead. Nope. Oh, these are some of the critters that you're going to come across while you're up here. Look at how tall that moose is. And they can double back like chickens. Beware. And sometimes if you see a bear, you're lucky. But sometimes we run across them, especially in the spring when they're waking up. They like to go along the highway and kind of fill their bellies with grass. Caribou sometimes. Muskox, if you go above the Arctic Circle, you'll run across them in the wild. They actually have a farm there outside of Palmer. Yep. Hey, cutie. You can see bears too, especially if the salmon are running from mid-July on in Valdez, for example. Yep. Bald eagles everywhere. Of course, if you get to a harbor town, you're going to see sea otters, a little bit more bear action. Sea lions, rabbits everywhere in Valdez. Be careful. Yep. Sheep on your way up through British Columbia. That's pretty close. That's really close. Oh, you can run into security systems. And if you go to our shop, you can see Penelope. You can cuddle up with a statue. You'll never know where you're going to meet on one of these, rides of yours when you're up in Alaska. You might even see Santa. Santa got lucky and got to meet Chief that day. Oh, yeah. Even Ronald comes up, hangs out. Okay, so this is map time. Now we're going to go over some routes. So basically, what I'm going to do is if you pull up the map waypoints, I've got over 100. I'm not going to hit every single one of them. I don't have the time. I'm also going to stop here and pause to see if there's any questions that are filtering through. Dax, you got anything?
Hey Phil, yeah, we got one question here, man. And it's I guess more of a statement. They said all pavement that seems limiting. All pavement for us isn't necessary. And I would just say to that we did this by request, right? We've had a lot of people reach out to us and request this of us. We have done general Alaska webinars in the past that touch on some of the gravel routes, and we will drop the link to that webinar playlist in the chat. So if you are interested in hitting a little bit of dirt or having some fun, no harm, no foul. There are other webinars that we've recorded for you. So go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
And then,
we're gonna do a dirt oriented one in the future too. So just hold on. We'll take you to the edge of the pavement on this one, and then we'll focus on that on another webinar for sure. All right.
yep, absolutely. Be careful with the rabbits. They run out in front of you, or are they trained to attack?
Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a Holy Grail reference, but for whatever reason in Valdez, there's tons of rabbits everywhere. Somebody let a couple out and they are running wild everywhere. And it's comical. It doesn't matter where you're going, there's going to be a rabbit just kind of bounding around and they're etching out a lifestyle there and they're not going away. Even the bald eagles can't take care of them. They're pretty hardy.
Okay, and then we got Steve here asking in the chat, where can Phil's book be published? That is another link that we will throw down in the chat for you guys. So if you do want to purchase that book, which I recommend you do, we'll be able to send you a link directly to that.
Yeah, you bet, Steve. You can find it on Google. You can get it on Octane Press. It's out there.
Perfect. And
Okay,
then we got one
go
more
ahead.
question that just popped up here, Phil. Sorry, as we were talking. Got one from Shati Adventures. Hey, Shati, nice to see you in here. Makes me happy. She is asking, how many layers of clothing are people wearing in June when traveling north of Denali? I'm a Texan, so thin-blooded.
Okay, so you got to prepare for between 65 degrees and 85 most days. And it usually rains 3 days a week. So I usually have a fleece layer and a vest, and then I have my riding gear, and then I have an outer waterproof layer that I put on the outside of everything. And that usually takes care of it. You got to have watertight gloves and boots. It helps, and keeping your core, uh, you know, um, warm. So that vest is really helpful. And if you're gonna come up on your own bike or rent one of ours, we have electric sockets and stuff, and you can um, you can just plug in, which is easy as well. And
Perfect.
I forgot to mention too, these are we're leading into the Alaska season this year, uh, and we still have availability on our tours and stuff, and we also have availability for rentals. So if something like this captures you and you come up, and we do free route consultations as well. So you could just get on the phone with us before you land here and have a really good idea what you're up to.
Okay, and I got one more final question here as we were talking. This one came in. We got one from Michael here asking about satellite phones. You mentioned sat phones. Do you have any recommendations on specific brands or features that's worked well for us?
Oh, I do actually. There's an outfit called Surveyors Exchange in Anchorage, and you can rent a sat phone from those guys. That's what they do, and I've had really good success with them. Surveyors Exchange. You might drop that in the link if you want, but just check it out. Check them out in Anchorage. You can get a sat phone and take it. It comes in a little Pelican case, and it's ready to go.
Perfect. All right, that's all the questions for now. Thanks, Phil.
Okay, guys. So we're going to start on this waypoints. We're going to start at the very east and very southern point. That's in Dawson Creek. And that is actually it's on the trail of the Alaska Highway. So if you guys have ever been up this, you've seen this sign, and this is the start of a highway that was built in World War II, and it goes all the way to Alaska. And we run this trip every May as an organized ride called North to Alaska, and that goes on in May. It's a little early in the season in that you're going to have ice on some of the lakes still, but you're going to see more critters that time of year than anywhere. And statistically, it's better for less rain. It's beautiful. You make your way up. This is Liard Hot Springs. I put this waypoint on there too. It's always nice to just have a thermal hot springs break whenever you're headed somewhere. And then you're going to have miles and miles of open country in British Columbia and also the Yukon. You're going to have friendly locals hanging out by the road. Um, This one is beautiful. You're getting into Kluane National Park territory, which is one of the larger national parks in North America. And it actually stretches over to the border of Alaska. And it is touching the Wrangell St. Elias National Park. And those two national parks together are the largest national preserve in the world. So you're talking huge country, huge mountains. They have all the tallest peaks, like most of them, except for Denali. They've got like Wrangell St. Elias alone has 9 of the 16 tallest peaks on the continent. So you're this is huge country out here. You got a lot of this. You're miles and miles. Now you got to plan your gas stops, and anybody that's planning to come up the highway alone, I always tell them, have the right tires, like have a lot of miles left on your tires, and also um, have be ready for gravel because um, there's going to be some sections of road construction, and sometimes it can go on. It can go on for maybe even 70 miles. So just be ready for everything when you come up to Alaska. It's not usually cut and dried like you'd think it would be. Okay. Well, moving on up, let's keep going. You're going to see critters. We counted 30 bears once in May coming up that highway. It's incredible. They're all just lounging around the side of the road, eating grass, watching you go by. Uh, Beautiful big landscape. You're going to get it to Watson Lake, and now you're almost only 19 miles or 19 hours of driving to Anchorage from here. Trust me, I know. I've done it once. And here's the signpost forest. You could bring up a signpost from your own town or whatever and add it to the nostalgia. Making your way up, I have Emerald Lake here, which is just a beautiful stop off. That is also in the waypoints here. And it's a nice little, they actually have the Carcross Desert that's just down the road, which is technically a little desert in the middle of all this northern pine forest. Uh, Now, if you're in Whitehorse, there's this really cool triangle you can do. This is on the way to Skagway. This is White Pass. It's absolutely gorgeous. I put some waypoints in there. One of them is a cemetery if you're into Gold Rush history. Uh, the town has some cruise ship activity there, and it has some old time feel. And this used to be the jump off point to the Chilkoot Trail. So this is definitely right in there with Jack London and all of his books. This is where you want to go. And you can actually ride out to the road to Daia, but that's a dirt road, so I'm not going to mention it on this one, but there's some other cool things to check out here. And then you can also take a ferry and check the schedule, but between Skagway and Haines, and it's not a long ferry, it's just a couple hours, but it completes a triangle if you look at it on the map. And so you can go down in White Pass, go over to Haines, and come back out towards Haines Junction, and it's gorgeous. This is what it looks like when you're leaving Haines. It's a beautiful country, two different passes and a little ferry situation, and it makes it interesting. You know when you're getting to Alaska when, and so you're going to get to Beaver Creek, and you're going to have 30 miles between the border crossings, and there's no man's land out there. I threw in a gas station, which is cheaper on the Alaska side, but you can get gas in Beaver Creek as well. But there's really not much going on out there. It's unadulterated wilderness, and you're on your way to Tok, and it's not Talk, it's Tok, Tok, and it's a crossroads. I'm leaping here a little bit, but Tok, I put in a couple of waypoints. One of them is where we usually stay, Fast Eddie's, and we also there is a motorcycle specific campground in Tok called Eagle Claw, Thompson's Eagle Claw, and you can get out there and it's really a crossroads of long distance motorcycle riders. You're either going north or you're going south in the state out of Tok. And I'm going to take you a little bit south and I'm going to take you west. And this is going to take us through Mantasta. I've got one waypoint over here in Slana, and you can in Slana there is a ranger station, and it's also tells you a lot of information about the Wrangell St. Elias National Park. It's really beautiful. There's actually a road that heads out of there that turns into dirt, so I'm not going to talk about it on this one. It's a pretty cool road, but you're just skirting this really large national park with all of its stratovolcanoes. I'm going to kind of fast forward. You come all the way down through Gacona. You come down through Glen Allen. Now we're headed to Valdez on the Richardson Highway. We're going to go to the terminus of the Richardson Highway, and also the Trans-Alaska Pipeline Terminal is there. So that town is named Valdez. It's not pronounced Valdez, if you want to sound like a local. Right on the way, you can stop off and check out Copper Center. And there's actually a little deviation, old Richardson Highway loop there, and it just kind of takes you into the country a little bit. And you can go to this old town that's been around since the turn of the century. Basically, it was a waypoint for people to stop as they were coming into the country for gold mining. So it's got a little history there. And I just like the gold rush history. So if you're into that, now what we're going to do is continue on, and then we're going to on our way to Valdez, we're going to dogleg out. This is a yo-yo and up and back to Chitina. And this goes out to Wrangell St. Elias National Park into McCarthy, but it's paved all the way to Chitina. And it's a nice ride, and it ends at the Copper River. Chitina is actually the original intersection of Alaska. They put in a railroad roundabout there back in 1910, and that would be the official intersection first and foremost in the state. And it continues to be that. And this is Gilpatrick's motel there. It's a more granular local flair. It comes with its own ghosts, and it's on the historic registry. And we like to stop here. Love the proprietor. She's awesome. And this town is just quirky. It's not mainstream. And if you want mainstream, I would say that you probably wouldn't find any value in this. But if you like to see the real Alaska, Chitna is a nice one. And you can continue through Chitna on a little bit of a dirt road. This is the old railroad draw here. And just a couple miles down the road, you can go to the Copper River where it flows into the Chitna River. And it's just gorgeous. It's just a nice place to just hang out. You can see the fish wheels. That's I think that's Wrangell Mountain, so that's a stratovolcano. No, that's Sanford right there. But anyway, you're looking at really tall mountains. And then when you come back out the road, which is like a 30-mile one way, you can continue on to Valdez. And Valdez is an exceptional ride on a good day. You want to budget 2 days to go through there because the weather, well, you're in a rainforest, so the chances of it being cloudy are pretty dang good. But if it's clear, you're going to have one of the better rides you've ever had. This is a shot of the Worthington Glacier. It used to touch the road just a few years ago, but really beautiful. There's actually a place where you can drive park pretty close to the glacier, and then you can walk and touch it. Here's the parking lot. They have a small fee, not a big deal. If they want to keep toilets out there, then I'm happy to pay it. And then it takes about 15 minutes to walk up to it, and you can touch it. So bring your little hiking shoes or whatever you like, and you can get a little bit of exploration in there. I would highly recommend not doing that in the way because that thing's constantly melting and ice is calving. But motorcyclists, man, they love that danger. And then on your way to over Thompson Pass, you're going to have a scene like this. This is just gorgeous. There's a little ride out there, but it's not very paved. But there is a parking spot right off the main road there. And these are the views that you would be seeing. And it's real beautiful. Nothing wrong with this. And then you get into Keystone Canyon, and here again, another just it's like a triple threat. Glaciers, pass, and then you're down into a canyon, and you got your Bridal Veil Falls and your Horsetail Falls, and it all hits you at once. And then the next thing you know, you come out at the ocean. So a ride into Valdez is not just a suggestion; it's a must. Any questions while we're here? Just that
Yeah,
we're doing
yeah,
all
I got
right.
a couple of questions that have built up. I got a question from Leif. He's asking only U.S. citizens.
No, no, Alaska's open to everybody. Hell, we used to be Russian. I mean, come on. This is the United States of America. You can come in, just make sure you got your visa and your passport. That helps if
Yep,
you're coming.
absolutely. I have a question here. Can a satisfying loop of Alaska be done on all pavement? Are
Oh
any of the
yeah, and
all
we've only
pavement?
touched the tip. I'm going to show you. Yep. You could be 8 to 10 days here easy and really have a good time. I'm going to show you.
Perfect. And then I got a question here from Ian asking, how is the road via Dawson City and Chicken?
That is on our dirt section. So that is your answer.
Perfect.
That's all broken up. So I kept that off this presentation. That's for a more adventuresome version of this Alaska type program.
Got a question here from Robert. Approximately how many miles between gas stops? Wondering if you need to bring an extra fuel container.
On the paved highways, no, you do not. And the most you're gonna have to stretch out is maybe 150 miles, maybe. But no, I think you can go. The rule of thumb on the paved highway is every 100 miles, whether you need it or not, you fill up your tank. Because some of these family run lodges that do have proper gas stations sometimes are just closed. I'm telling you, this is Alaska sometimes toggles between the first and the third world. It just does. And there's logistics and there's long highways, and sometimes the fuel truck doesn't show up in Myers Lake on the Richardson Highway. You never know if it's going to be open or not. So you want to budget every 100 miles. Just fill them up. Don't even think twice.
Yeah, Perfect. I got a question here from Bill asking about specifically that lookout on the top of Thompson's Pass. Can
Hmm.
you be more specific on where that is?
Yeah, actually, if you look at the map, it's right there. It's I put a waypoint right there on it, and
Perfect.
it's before you drop down. You're going to see it before the dog leg. You'll see it. It's just north of the dog leg.
And I actually got a comment earlier from a gentleman. He was asking if you could maybe say the number of the waypoint so that it's easier for people to zoom in on the map as you're chatting. Would that be possible at all?
Yeah. So the pin that I was just talking about is 126.
Perfect. That'll be helpful.
And if there's any other point that I didn't mention, I can just zoom in there because I know I'm moving quite fast, but I don't think I have the time to stop at every single pin. But if you have one in particular, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, the map's pretty dense for sure. I got a question, another question here from Shati Adventures. What is the name of the glacier that you can touch?
Oh, Worthington.
Worthington Glacier.
Yep,
Perfect.
and they don't charge anything. You can walk right up there, but it takes you want to budget about 45 minutes.
Okay, I got a question here from, and I apologize for my pronunciation on this in advance, Urshad. He was asking, should I write up from the contiguous states? And if so, will that be all paved? Are there good options for rental or shipping your motorcycles back and forth?
Yeah, okay, so you can rent from us one way and you can go north. It's all paved technically, but there is construction. There's always going to be road construction. Just be ready for that. And it may not be friendly. It just is the nature of ripping up a highway after frost heaves, laying down gravel, and it's your luck on when you arrive at that construction site. So keep that in mind. You can also ship your bike to and from Alaska. And there's an outfit called Classic Motion that has done a really good job through the years. They're not cheap, but they usually handle vintage automobiles, so they take good care of your gear. And so look them up. They're based in Anchorage, and you can drop off or pick up a bike there. And then if that doesn't work, I happen to know a motorcycle rental company called MotoQuest, and they'll definitely help you out. And if they have availability, they're there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That is really a large part of our business. I encourage you guys to look into the logistics of transporting your bike to or from, using the Alaska Marine Highway, all that good stuff. But I can tell you from personal experience, a lot of people do that, and then they end up realizing that it is ultimately cheaper and just easier to rent a bike from us in Anchorage, and that's really what a large part of our customer base is. But definitely look into alternatives and explore your options. Jim C here is asking in the chat, where can we find the map? I believe Brendan just dropped a fresh link in the chat for you. So go and look for that Google Maps link, and that is the map that we're referencing throughout this webinar. So that should be there in the chat for you there, Jim.
Okay, you
Uh,
guys. Oh,
One
go ahead.
last question here from Leif, Phil, and then you can get going again here, man. He's asking, we're mostly talking about trips that we do on our own, but how about the organized trips? And also, can you rent a bike? A bit tricky to bring my own from Sweden. So, hey,
Yeah,
Leif,
yeah.
you're joining
Get
us.
on get on MotoQuest, Leif. There's a rental section there with Anchorage. You also can rent and ride all the way up from Portland, so you would meet Dax face to face if you did that. And then our tour page has all the tours. So we have two tours that connect Alaska with the continental United States. We call it the Lower 48. And one of them is northbound. It's the North to Alaska, all paved. And there's one called the Cassiar, which has some dirt sections, a little more on the adventure side, and it goes southbound in August or September, early September. And then you can see everything there, Leif. So, you guys, this is where I'm at on the map. I'm in Valdez right now. And in Valdez, there's a road that goes past the airport to a glacier pond, and this is where this photograph was taken. And I can tell you exactly what point it is. It is point 119. And this is just a nice little place to check out. You're kind of on your way. If you have Valdez, you have like a half day of kind of cool things to see in Valdez. So stay the night, maybe even two. There's lots to do there. And you can actually touch glacier ice there. It's flowing right to your feet. It's pretty neat. That stuff's really condensed, and you can put it in your cocktail. This is the ride into Valdez. You're just outside. Valdez got wiped out with an earthquake, and I did put a waypoint in there where the old town site is. And if you're into any history, and this is actually a legitimate tsunami devastation that happened back in 1964. So they moved the town site a little bit, but if you're into history, check it out. Valdez is pretty small and it's riddled with rabbits. It's kind of an industrial palette. It's got two decent, hotels that we're looking for with larger rooms. There's the Totem in the background right there, and then there's the Harbor Inn. It's a Best Western. We usually try to avoid, uh, you know, those big brands, but this one actually is really well located and has a decent restaurant. The harbor is cool. You can see that it's just surrounded by fjords and mountains and ocean. Watch out for those little critters. They're hard to catch with your hands, actually. You can start up a pirate situation if you want. Go down and see the catch that comes in at the end of the day. You can go fishing there and you can go glacier cruising. And there's some flight seeing you can do there, of course. It's a beautiful destination. If you go there in August, like early August or late July, you're going to have silver salmon everywhere. You can go out and catch a bunch of them and have them frozen and sent back home. This is right at the Harbor Inn. You can enjoy watching the Harbor Channel from there. Now, if you ride around to the other side, and I have this waypointed in the points, so you're headed to, let's just say, uh, you're going to point 122, and this is around on the Dayville Road. Okay, uh, if you go in mid-July on, there's a bunch of salmon at the salmon hatchery. It's a huge parking lot. You can't miss it. You're going to see something like this, and you're going to have a good chance to see fishermen out there getting their things. They got their shopping cart. Um, and this is one of those scenes from across the way of Valdez. Really beautiful, right on Prince William Sound. And it's a gorgeous setting. It is a boreal or uh, rainforest, so just beware that weather is weather, and they do good at it. There's a way to get across Prince William Sound from Valdez to Whittier, and it's you could take the Marine Highway. I don't know the schedule, but I've done it many times where you load a bike on and you take 5 hours or whatever it takes to get to Valdez. It deposits you there, and then you're within an hour and 25 minutes of, or hour 30 minutes of Anchorage. You're already there. And you get to see tidewater glaciers and marine wildlife and stuff like this. So it's really something for you to consider. And it's an interesting way to see Alaska. But instead, we're going to go right back out of Thompson Pass and we're going to go to Glen Allen and we're going to go due west on the Glen Highway, which is one of the National Forest Scenic Byway top 10 rides. And in the background there is Mount Drum, and that is part of Wrangell St. Elias National Park. And this shot, you're leaving Glen Allen, and it's really beautiful. It's big, big country. The Glen Highway is actually one of the better riders areas. It's got curves and elevation. It's actually pleasant. I would say hit it a little bit closer in the morning, or be careful to do it like because there's some Anchorage RV traffic and there's also other RV traffic. So the time to do it is avoid when people are leaving for weekends and stuff. But it's pretty wide open. There's two lodges that we stay there, and I just wanted to show you an example of some of the lodges. This one's Majestic Valley Lodge. We love to stay out here. It's got a cool fire pit. It's got a hot tub. It's got a really good dining room. And they have new cabins too, which are quite nice. And it's nice. You're basically staring at the Chugach Range, and it's beautiful. And then down the road is Sheep Mountain Lodge, and between the two, they're both, I think, really good. They both have really good food, really good hospitality, and they have nice, comfortable, clean cabins. So I just wanted to showcase these. They sit out in the middle of nowhere. This is at Sheep Mountain where you have a fire pit, which is really cool. And actually, the thing that's going on is Majestic does heli skiing, but what Sheep Mountain offers is flight seas. They have a helicopter sitting right out in front of the restaurant, and you can go and see the Matanuska Glacier from there. And many of our riders opt for this, and it's just a real treat. And then you're going to ride right by Matanuska Glacier, and it is gorgeous. It just gives you an idea of what a glacier is up to, and you can actually access it too. I put it on the waypoints that there is one where the road leads down into uh, the glacier, Matanuska Glacier area. You have to pay to play. You got to go past the gate to get out to this road, but you can go right out there and then touch it and walk on it. So it's really, really cool, but it's not for free. And then you're going to continue on this. And I just wanted to take a minute too to mention there's a couple ways to get from the Matanuska Glacier to Anchorage, and one of them is the main road, and then the other one is the Old Glen Highway, which is a superior motorcycle ride to the ho-hum of going through the town and staying on a split highway. This Old Glen Highway, I have a waypoint in it just in Palmer, and it takes you out and you cross the Matanuska River and the Knik River, and it patches you in back to the Glen Highway further down towards Anchorage, and you just have a better ride. And I suggest that you put that in your itinerary going north or south. Now that you're in Anchorage, there's a couple places that I put in there that are noteworthy. One of them is Spinard Lake, and this is the largest seaplane base in the world. We are the flyingest people in the world per capita, Alaska. And they log as many takeoffs and landings as O'Hare in the summer. There are planes, and if you ride along it real slow, you're going to see every make and model of every historical float plane you've ever thought of. And I'm kind of into that. And there's also a aircraft museum right on the shores of this too. So if you're into aircraft, I would check that out. I put another waypoint that is pretty far out of town towards the east, and that will take you up to the parking lot at Glen Alps, and you can overlook Anchorage. And if you brought your hiking shoes, you can go to Flat Top and back again, and it's a nice afternoon. And I also put our shop, which is on 71st Avenue, and so it's a really good, easy way to get in and out of Anchorage. It's easy access, and we're really happy with the facility. It looks like this, and we're open May, June, July, and August. You're gonna meet Mike and his crew up there. Mike's an Alaska boy as well, and he does whatever he can to get people on the road and having fun. And this is a group that's just getting ready to get on the road. So this gives you an idea of our facility there, and we rent or conduct tours out of this facility. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to take you south to the Kenai Peninsula, and when you do that, you're going to be on the Seward Highway, which is a National Forest scenic byway. Yet again, another top 10 scenic ride. And there you got the ocean and mountains. What's wrong with that? The first thing you're going to hit is Girdwood. That's where I live. That's the ski resort town. It's about 45 minutes south of Anchorage. I put in some good restaurants there. I did put in my buddy's spoon line, Alex. Shout out to you. Unfortunately, she's gonna quit. She's not gonna quit. The spoon line is going to stop offering food, and they're going to take a hiatus. But if you can get in there by the end of April, go for it. But I put in the Double Muskie too. That's a great Cajun restaurant, and a shout out to Jack Spratz. And don't forget the chowder at the base camp. And you can actually ride over to the resort and get on the tram and take the tram up and throw a snowball at your companion. There's nothing more fun. Now, when you're leaving Girdwood going south, make sure to go out and back to Portage Valley. It's a beautiful ride with hanging glaciers, and you've got the river following it. You get up here to Bear Valley. Now, if you push it further up Bear Valley, here, I'll give you the waypoint here so you're not confused. Uh, Bear Valley turns into the Whittier Tunnel, and the Whittier Tunnel this is point 34, so that where that last picture was taken. Now, this is the longest tunnel in North America. It's 2.5 miles long, and I need to warn you guys, even though it's paved, it's if you're claustrophobic, you're not going to like it. Um, but it's one way traffic. It goes on a schedule. You got to pay to go in. You don't got to pay to leave, but you got to pay to go in. And it's on the rails, flush railroad tracks. Then they send a train. Then they send traffic. Then they do it the other way. That's how they work it. And you have to stay in between the tracks. It's on diamond plated concrete, and you get drips and fans, and you can't see the end of the tunnel when you first go in. So it is a noteworthy tunnel, but it will take you to Whittier, and you can then take the ferry on, or you can just explore around Whittier. And I put a couple waypoints there. One of them is a really beautiful look uh, down the valley there. It's point 36, and you just go out of town a little bit, and it's beautiful. So you can get some check out the harbor, check out Whittier, whether you take a ferry or not. It's worth it. And then heading back out of Portage Valley, it's just gorgeous. Nothing wrong with it. Now you're on the peninsula, and there are a couple places that you're going to see. It's just a land of mountains, glaciers, rivers, and lakes. Um, this is Hope. I heard a really good Hope. If Hope it does not exist, at least you can drive there. That was last night's quote of the night. And you can drive to Hope. It's a spur road. It goes off um, the main Seward Highway, and I'm going to tell you what point it is. It's point 29 right here is what you're looking at. That's a Seaview Cafe. They have decent chowder. You can get in there for lunch. The Creek Bed and the Dirty Skillet are really good backups to this really small mining town. This town used to be bigger than Anchorage. It was around way before Anchorage, and it had a lot of people living there at the turn of the century, but it has now kind of drifted back into the wilderness. But it's really worth it just to go out there. It's a nice ride in and out. And now you're headed south again on the main Seward Highway. This is Summit Lake. It's a nice coffee place to stop. It's gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with this place. Just to take pause. Beautiful. Then you're going to come to Turn Lake. You're going to make a decision whether you're going to go on Sterling Highway or Seward Highway. Right now, for presentation's sake, I'm going to take you down to Seward. Beautiful. Arctic Tern, by the way, is the longest flight path of any bird in the world. It's like 14,000 miles, and you'll see them hovering around here catching things. I like to stop off if I can once in a while at Trail Lake Lodge, and they have a neat little kind of deck that goes out. And if you could get a meal and hang out there, it's nice. It's kind of you go right through it really fast, but if you have time, it's kind of off the beaten track. I like it, and you get scenes like this. This is a neat little place. I put this on here, Primrose. It's a campground really, but I like to take my groups there because it's pretty. And there's a little bit of gravel to get out there. It's point 22. But it's kind of cool to check out. You're on your way to Seward. It's beautiful. Now out at Seward, you're gonna have a chance to go out to Exit Glacier. Exit Glacier is in the way in the back there, and you can actually drive around to the national park, and then walk. I think it's over a mile to get to the glacier, and you can touch it too. And so it's called Exit Glacier, and that's on the way into Seward. You're going to see some waypoints that go to the north and to the west, and this picture is taken right at point number 20. And so you can ride out there and back. It's like a yo-yo. There you go. And then if you show up in 4th of July, you're going to have the mountain marathon, which is nuts. That's just the record is 45 minutes to the top of the mountain and back, but it's a proper city. It's got a Seward Sea Life Center there. It's kind of cool. If you drive through town and along the coast, you can go out to Lowell Point. It does turn to gravel, but it's a nice little loop. The harbor is nice. Go to the Cookery. I think that's the best restaurant, but there's also good stuff by the harbor. And then if you go on the other side of the road of the bay, which is Nash Road, you ride out, and I put a waypoint here for this that you can see these boats. I love the boats. They pull them out of the water, and it's just point number 16. And yeah, check it out. Just go out there. Um, nice riding. Now we're going to leave Seward and we're going to go towards Homer, which is even further south. This is along the Kenai River. Kenai River is a beautiful river. You can river raft it. Cooper Landing is a neat little destination if you want to go fishing or scenic rafting. There's some Russian influence down on the Kenai Peninsula. It's pretty whimsical. They were here a long time ago, and there's still even towns that are still Russian. And it's interesting mix of cultures. And if you get all the way down to Homer, that's the spit that juts out into Kachemak Bay. There's a neat hotel at the end called Land's End. If you're a camper, there's a campground right there too, and you can be right out there. You need to be hardy if you're out there camping though, because it can get pretty gnarly out there. The harbor is beautiful. You're going to see a lot of boats from the most dangerous catch, and then you got to stop in at the Salty Dog, kind of be rude to. And the thing about the bars in Alaska is they all have dollar bills uh, stapled up there, and that's a federal offense, but you can do it and bring a Sharpie and you can add to the history. The reason they did that is because the miners would leave $1 and go back into the woods, and they didn't know if they were going to find gold or not. So at least they had a drink in the future. And then there's this neat little off spin place called Nikolevsk, and it's just a little town. And I got that in here. You can get out there, and I'm pretty sure it's paved. And I don't know, it's just like a side. We started going by there because there's a character that runs the store there, and you can find her, and it's point .9. But it's just an interesting historical moment. You can also go out to Anchor Point, and there's another way to get there from Homer, and I put it on point number 10, and it's the old Sterling Highway, which is a little bit less trafficked and it's nice winding. And yes, you can get out to North America's most westerly point. And this is what they're doing. They're just bringing fishermen in and out with these huge tractors. Now we're on the Old Glen Highway north of Anchorage. We're going to go north now. I'm not going to retrace anything. So,
Hey,
uh,
Pete, so maybe before you
go
move
ahead.
on from Kenai Man, we got a couple of questions built
Let's
up.
do it. Oh,
Uh,
I forgot one thing about Kenai as well. Go ahead.
I got a question here from John asking. He sees a lot of GS motorcycles. Is BMW RT a suitable bike to ride up there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just provided you're okay to get through the gravel construction, you're fine.
Yeah, perfect. I got another question here from Rashad. Appreciate you asking questions, man. He's asking about the elevation of most of the rides. Are any of these rides that you're talking about at significant elevation? Should someone budget a little bit of time to acclimate if they're coming from like sea level?
No, no, the highest pass we have is 4,000 feet. It's no issue.
Yeah. Got a question here from Donna asking about the Matsu Glacier. Who do you pay to pass the gate?
Yeah, there's an outfit, I forget the name of it, but literally you go down the glacier access road. I have it waypointed there. And then they have a booth there and they have like one of those drawbridge things over it. So you can't get by pass without paying.
Okay. And then a question again here from Rashad. He's asking, like what's a reasonable amount of time it would take to hit all the points shown within Alaska? I don't know, to hit all of them would be probably quite a long time, but somebody wants to ride to Alaska, how much time should they budget to feel like they really saw everything that they would want to see up there?
Well, I would say 10 days, but you can do it in 8, but you're not seeing or stopping anywhere to see anything more. You're just riding. But 10 days would be probably the most comfortable. You, I
Perfect.
mean, I could keep you busy for 14, even 21 days if you really want to get off the bike and see stuff. But you can do the main loop up to Fairbanks and back down again without doing any Kenai Peninsula in about 3 days, 4 days. But all you're doing is riding.
Yep. Another question here from Scotty Adventures. How many national parks are on this route? And maybe if you could just touch on, national parks in Alaska in general.
Yeah, I mean, so far we've touched the Wrangell St. Elias National Park, the Kenai Fjords National Park, which is where Exit Glacier is. They're along the way. There's Denali National Park. I'll talk about that just in a minute. Those are about the three main ones.
Okay. And then a good question here from Mark, man. How necessary are reservations at the nicer hotels and inns if they wanted to go right up in Alaska, especially during the high season, like mid-August?
Yeah, if it's just one or two of you, I would say it's not that much of an issue. But, you know, if it's a group of you, yeah, you should do it months in advance.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, and that's all the questions I got for now. Thank
Okay,
you, Phil.
okay. I did want to back up a little bit. I put a couple more waypoints here. I'm going to show you one. It's point number 13, and this is just an option if you're down on the Kenai Peninsula and you want to do a little bit different way back. You can go up California Beach Road up to Kenai. I put in a cool little restaurant there that's got a really good overlook of the mouth of the Kenai River. That's point 14, and it's a neat little delicatessen there. They make a decent sandwich, and it's kind of cool. And that's old Kenai. You know, it used to be a Russian settlement, so it's got that flair to it. And so this we're back now. We're back on the old Glen Highway. Okay, we're headed to Palmer. We're north of Anchorage. We're leaving Anchorage and we're going north. And I'll give you a point reference here. We're right around point number 51 right now. We're just about to cross this bridge on in this photo. And what this does is this is just a better ride. And then taking the main highway through Wasilla or Palmer, I think. And if you're going to go north towards Talkeetna on the Parks Highway, uh, you might, if you have time, go up and make a stab at Hatcher's Pass because it does have nice riding and it will, it'll take 2 hour, 3 hours out of the way from point to point. But if the destination is the journey, you're going to love it. And I got another way around Palmer or Wasilla that isn't main highway with a bunch of lights either. So follow me on this one. Hatcher Pass. Now you're going into Palmer, and then now what you're now what you're doing is I'm going to tell you what point this is. Point number 57. This road, it's out of Palmer, and you can take a left when you're leaving town. And I actually have a waypoint there where you should turn off. It's point 53, and that goes to North Palmer Fishhook Road, and this will take you up to Hatcher Pass. You just need to keep trucking straight. And there's two cool things up there. It's really nice riding. On a good day, it's beautiful. It's all paved, and you've got Hatcher Pass Lodge here. They put out a decent lunch. You actually have Wi-Fi, and you have a really good view. And then behind them, this is inside that lodge. And behind them is there's a state park, and this is Independence Mine, and it talks about how they used to mine gold up there, and it's open in the summer, so check it out. You could continue on that road up and over Hatcher Pass, but it turns to dirt, and that's for another day. We'll talk about. So backing back out of that Hatcher Pass, there is a workaround to go north to the Parks Highway, and this is really a nice. Okay, so okay, you're at point 57 right here, and this turns into the Wasilla Fishhook Road. And this is a locals road, and it doesn't have a lot of big trucks on it, and it goes back and forth. So it's a motorcyclist, you're leaning one way or another, and that thing will take you all the way around to the north part of Wasilla. And I take my groups on this ride because it's just better ride than stop go traffic and split highway. I try to avoid that. And it'll put you right back into the highway system right on Main Street at point 58. And just for reference, I'm gonna tell you I've got Hatcher Pass Lodge here, waypointed at point 54. So that's the road you can go all the way back up, down, and then I'll take the fishhook around the around Wasilla because you just avoid everything else. It's a nicer ride. And then we're going to go to Talkeetna. And Talkeetna, I would budget 2 days. And we do this on our Best of Alaska for a reason because there's so much to do there. This is a shout out to Swiss Alaska Inn. We used to stay here, and we stay here when we can. We also stay at uh, the Talkeetna. Let me see. We stay downtown as well, which is nice. But Talkeetna is fun. It's got things going on, and it's got a proper town. And let me see here. Let's say that Point 63 is where we stay as well, which is the Talkeetna Inn. And the downtown area is funky. It looks like this. You've got, you know, um, several cast of characters here. Uh, Let me get this out of the way here. That's the main street, and it's only got like two bars and several good restaurants, but it's interesting. Also, I waypointed a place that I like to go in Talkeetna to just stand there and look at Denali when there's two rivers that collide in front of you. It's a really nice place. Point 66. I go out there every evening after dinner. There's a trail out there. And if I see you out there, let's say hi. And Talkeetna means where rivers come together, and you have three major ones coming together right there. Susitna, Talkeetna, Chulitna. And you can take a flight out of there and see Denali, which is the largest mountain. It's the tallest mountain in North America. You can go through K2 or Talkeetna Air Taxi. I waypointed both of those. And you can do a glacier landing, and it is phenomenal. You got to get lucky with the weather. Definitely worth it. Really cool. You want to budget at several hours. Anything fun's about $250 to $350. And you can do stuff like this. Talkeetna's got two bars. One of them's the TP, and the other one is Fairview. And either one of them, if you want to get local gossip and a dive, you go to TP. And if you want to get live music and more tourists, you go over to the Fairview. Um, on your way north, I put this in here because you can get a picture of you in front of the Denali Highway sign. And on your way there, south of it, there is a couple viewpoints the of Denali, which are really nice. There's Denali Viewpoint South, which is number 71 on the points. I did put a restaurant in there just south of there, Mary's McKinley View, which is nice. You could actually look at the mountain and have a hamburger or a salad. And then as you go north further, um, this sign right here, that this what we're looking at is point. Bear with me here. Um, Want to make sure that I'm sending you in the right place. Whoa. This is the entrance to Denali National Park. And you can actually ride into the park, which is really cool, but only for the first 20 miles. This sign is right here at point 76. If you go into the park, there's going to be a visitor center, and it's really worth it. And then public can actually ride in to the park. Keep your velocity down. The chances of seeing critters is good, and they're going to turn you around at the Savage River. And that's worth a couple hours just to check it out. And then I'm going to fast forward. We get back on the Parks Highway. There are some notables. I would stop in Nenana at the trading post there and put your name down for the Nenana Ice Classic. That is, it's kind of it's a profit generating sort of situation. They try to bet on when the river is going to break or break open in the spring. It's point 80. You just stop in there. You can register. It's kind of neat just to drive down into Nenana and back again. It's just an old railroad hub, but it's still kind of got one of those endearing feelings. Just a little town. Anyway, heading north out of there, the riding gets pretty decent south of Fairbanks, and then I'm just going to breeze through Fairbanks. I've got a few waypoints here in Fairbanks. There's one restaurant called the Pump House, which is good. and we stay at Pikes, right on the Chena River, which is a nice place. And when you get there's paved roads for 100+ miles north of Fairbanks, and on your way there, you're on your way to Fox, and you can stop off and actually see the pipeline here. And the pipeline place, it's a viewing place, and it's number 143. You can stop and actually check out the pipeline. You can touch it. Some people opt to sticker it, but this is the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. Now, if you take that road just north and keep on going north out of Fox, you're going to be in the middle of the wilderness. You're on your way up the Dalton Highway. You're actually technically on the Elliott Highway, but what that'll do after about 70-ish miles, which is a good ride, and it's all paved. It's a little lumpy because of the frost heaves, but it'll take you to a junction. They call it Livengood, but it doesn't really exist anymore. And the Elliott Highway will veer south and west, and the Dalton Highway will take off from there. And you will have this sign right there at the junction, and then it stops being paved right there. You're done. If you're gonna go up the Dalton, you ought to be ready, and we'll talk about that at another time. But it's a nice ride. You're gonna start running into roads or signs like this once you get past that point. So and that's off pavement. And that's kind of the road going north. So that is a whole other chapter. But we're not going to go there. We're going to go to Chena Hot Springs instead. We're going to come all the way down south and we're going to go out to Chena Hot Springs Resort. And that's number 93, point number 93. And this is a decent ride out there. There's always a chance to see moose. It's about 60 miles out of Fairbanks. It ends in a resort situation. It's got an eclectic feel to it. It's got, outdoor thermal hot springs, which are nice. It's got a decent restaurant, a good hotel, and it has an ice museum. You could take a tour in there. And they've got all sorts of ice trinkets in there. It's kind of neat. It's another world. They'll make you an apple teeny made out of a glass of ice, which is neat. And then other stuff. They even have an ice bar. And as you can see, they've collected a few things out there. And yeah, hot springs. Nothing wrong with that. Now you're backing out of there, and we're gonna head south on the Richardson. We're gonna come back out on the Chena Hot Springs Road, which is there's only one, and we're gonna hit the Nordale Road. Because it's a shortcut to North Pole, Alaska. And who doesn't want to go see Santa? This is point number 91. It's a road that leads to this picture. And this picture is Santa's house. Santa's house is point number 96. And Santa rides a Harley, but he does understand that a BMW is a better choice for riding all the roads in Alaska. I got him saying it on film. But it's kind of fun to go in there just for the heck of it. You can meet him. He's there. And as you're heading down the Richardson Highway, south out of town, I put a few waypoints here and there of interest, but basically it's pretty open country. And then the last bit of that highway, you get through Delta. Delta is your last gas and food. And that is let's just say it's worth it to go in the visitor center. Point 99 is Delta Junction. And it's like a town in Alaska. It's more of a farming sort of feel, big wide open space. But after that, the riding starts to get really, really good. You go into the Alaska Range on the Richardson Highway. You go up through the Black Rapids. You're going along the Delta River, which is a wild and scenic river, and it is beautiful. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this is a good way to make your loop. You're going to go through Isabel Pass, And this is Summit Lake. All of this is beautiful through there. I think you get the idea. And it's a must if you're going to ride. And these points, for example, this one right here was taken not far from point 102. And this is Summit Lake, Isabel Glacier in the background. And there's a stop right there. That is the stop 102, just to have a photo there. It's good stuff. Um, you're going to go through the Rainbow Range there. Um, that's just a little bit north, and that point right there is actually point 101. Beautiful riding. And you're going to be going along with the Alyeska pipeline as well as your companion, and that's what you're going to see up there. Not bad at all. And that would pretty much wrap up the main highways that are paved. There is one more highway called the Denali Highway, and it is getting more and more and more paved. And so I'm gonna this point right here is point 103 on, and this is an east-west highway. It's over 120 miles long, and a lot of it is dirt. But if you come in from um, the Paxson side and from the east side, you can go in about 30 miles of pavement and chip seal. Keep in mind there's a lot of frost heaves and stuff, but it's at or above timberline, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it'll go all the way out to McLaren Summit, and I have McLaren Summit here marked, I believe. McLaren's McLaren Summit is actually the highest um, pass in all of Alaska. So it's quite beautiful. And McLaren Summit is at point 107. And there actually is a lodge right there on McLaren River called McLaren River Lodge. And they'll take care of you. It's kind of a cool Alaskana place. And now it's connected to the paved highway. It wasn't for years, but you can get out there. So that is where I want to end this presentation, to take you out and leave you in the middle of nowhere. Um, any questions?
Awesome. Yeah, we got just a couple of questions here as we're wrapping up. First question is from Jim. He's asking, what are we missing if we don't go to Prudhoe Bay?
Prudhoe Bay is if you don't go to Prudhoe Bay, you're going to see and stay on the paved highways. You're going to see the tallest mountains, the largest national parks. You're going to see port towns and fjords. If you go to Prudhoe Bay, you have a notch on your belt. You're going to cross the Brooks Range, and you're going to be as isolated as you've ever been in your life. So it's a whole different experience, and you're going to have to deal with slippery mud and gravel if it's raining. If it's not, it's pretty good. But it's a challenge. You're out there, way out there.
Yep. I got a question here from Robert. He was looks like he was scoping out our tour page for the North to Alaska tour. He noticed fuel is not included. What should he budget for fuel?
About $20 a day, $30, but somewhere in there. Usually covers it, but you want to have about $100 on you to cover meals and gas. It's gone up a little bit, so 120. If you're a drinker, you might as well throw on another, whatever it takes, 20 or 30 bucks a day, and that should cover you for your meals and your gas.
Perfect. All right, guys. As we're wrapping up here, I just want to again say thank you all for coming. We will be following up on this webinar with a thank you email, just including all our contact information, email for myself, Phil, and Brendan. And please, if you guys have any questions that were not answered, any concerns about whether just riding to Alaska or specifically renting from us or going one of our guided trips, please feel free to reach out to us on that email that we will follow up with. And again, if you came in late or you had to leave early, Whatever the case may be, we have recorded this entire webinar. It will be live on our YouTube channel, hopefully later today. So you will be able to view the full thing there. Again, appreciate all you for coming. Phil, do you have any closing remarks here as we wrap up?
Come to Alaska. It's absolutely wild, and you won't be disappointed. It's a different kind of culture, a different kind of people, and a different kind of nature. It's huge and it's wild. And Alaska is located 5 minutes from Anchorage.
Perfect. Thanks
Come
everyone
on
for
up.
coming. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thanks, guys.